One of the most important aspects of any track day car is the right wheel and tire setup. After all, if there's any one aspect of modifying a car that can most notably improve lap times and the feel of the car, this is it. In today's episode of the Track Taxi, presented every Thursday on the Drive Brake Fix Repeat YouTube channel, it is time to upgrade the Prius wheel and tire setup to the extreme. As usual, when it comes to wheels, I went a little bit overboard on Facebook Marketplace. You see, the Prius has a 5x100 wheel bolt pattern, which is pretty commonly found on smaller Japanese cars like smaller Toyotas, Subarus, etc. I eventually found these wheels right here for an absolute bargain. Check it out. These are a set of Rota SDR wheels, size 17 by 7.5 with a plus 48 offset. I found them in a pile of junk on a garage sale post online on Facebook Marketplace. The seller didn't know anything about them. He said he was a landlord. One of his previous tenants left them there at his place. But he only lived about 15 minutes away from me, so I took the gamble and drove over to check them out. The wheels were straight with no cracks or bends, and the Rota center caps along with the stamping on the back of the wheels were a clear giveaway on the fitment and the specs. And after a bit of negotiating, they were mine. While the wheels were straight, they were also very, very curb rash. And also, having sat outside under the sun for years in this guy's lot, the faces had completely faded. Now, these wheels are originally a gold metallic color, as you can see here on the barrels, but the faces had completely faded to a sort of like rose gold, almost pink color. So I picked up this Duplicolor bronze wheel paint and went to work. I think they came out super solid. The finish is matte bronze in the shade, but has a nice metallic flake in the daylight. Not bad for a rattle can finish, huh? After doing a test fit and confirming these Rotas fit on the Prius rather easily, I was initially pretty content with just using these Rotas. But then I got to thinking, well, with just a 7.5 inch wide wheel, I'm only going to be able to fit a 225 wide track day tire, max. And I really need to get the front end of the Prius gripped up to minimize braking and scrubbing any precious speed I can get, because the Prius is just so slow to accelerate. So soon the search was on again for the Prius, this time looking for even wider front wheels to use so I could do a front wheel drive staggered setup where the front is wider than the rears, just like I do on Project Civic Si. However, with this search came a catch. When you talk to drivers of low-power cars at your local track day, think NA Miata, old-school Hondas, or even the Toyota 86 and Subaru BRZ, there does become the question of, can you go too big? Some racers think there's a point where over-tiring a car, putting too wide of a wheel and tire setup on a low-power car can actually hurt lap times more than it helps, because the increased weight and the increased drag down the front straight hampers or offsets any gains that you'll find in cornering grip in the low speed stuff. However, there are also racers who think the exact opposite. Some people say it is impossible to over-tire a car. If the tire can fit in the fender, it is just the right amount of tire, because you'll more than make up any differential in acceleration in the corners. And this is going to be an extreme case study, because this is the lowest power car any given track day, and I'm about to put a lot of wheel and tire under the front of this thing. Now, Corvette-sized wheels and tires aren't exactly going to fit under the Prius fenders, but hopefully these do. These are a set of DeForest Wheels that I bought online from yet another garage sale. Now, the BMW track nerds might recognize these, as they're kind of old school, having been out of production for about 5 years now. In fact, I always thought that DeForests were just 5x120 BMW wheels, but these ones are actually dual drilled 5x100 and 5x114, and a Google search revealed them to be legit. These bad boys measure 17 by 9 with a positive 42 offset and look absolutely dope. I'm a huge fan of the DeForests. I always have been ever since I first seen them on the Vorschlag BMWs and stuff like that. But unfortunately, you're looking at the nicest one of the bunch. These were very reasonably priced, and unfortunately they do need to be refinished. The rest of them have quite a lot of curb rash and quite a lot of paint chips and things like that. They're a little bit rough around the edges. So I picked up more Duplicolor bronze to match the Rotas. It's time to get to work. Alright, and the wheels are done, and they actually came out even better than the Rotas did. Look at the difference in that finish, actually. It's close, but you'll notice that these have a deeper luster and kind of a richer color. And the difference here is I ended up using Duplicolor's white sandable primer because these wheels are obviously black, and color theory, black wheel, bronze paint, the bronze wasn't going to show over the black. So laying down that white primer ahead of time gave these things a really great finish. I mean, these look fantastic for a painted wheel. Check those things out. And now it's off to the tire shop. All right, everyone, back from the tire shop, and once again, my friends down at TPM Parts in Irvine, California, really hooked me up here with a set of the excellent Bridgestone Potenza RE71R track day tires. These are a 200 treadwear, very aggressive, very popular tire in the track day and autocross community. And I suspect this is probably the most aggressive tire ever put on the front of a daily drivable Toyota Prius. It's not a race car or anything like that. Check these out, super aggressive. I love the way this looks. This is a 17x9 wheel, as I mentioned, with a 245/40 front tire. And the Rotas, once again, are a 17x7.5. I went with a 215 rear tire. That's a really aggressive stagger, and all in a huge upgrade. Now, the stock wheels are a 195 wide tire on a 15-inch wheel. Absolutely tiny little pie cutters. So the rear tire is now plus 20 millimeters, and the front is a massive plus 50 millimeters in width. And not only the width, just the compound. These are a really aggressive tire. They have tons of grip, and crucially, these tires tend to work well with camber challenge front-wheel drive cars. You know, there's a reason why a lot of guys in stock class autocross cars run these tires, because they can generally compensate for softer, or undersprung, or less than ideal alignment setups, which I suspect is going to be the case on this Prius. I'm stoked in the way these things look. I hope you are too. Let's get them on the car and see how things actually are looking. A key component of this big change to the car, this wheel and tire package, is definitely going to be the weight differential. Now, these stock wheels are just 15 inches in diameter and 6 inches wide, very, very small. And tires are a 195 wide tire, as I mentioned. I suspect they don't weigh that much. They're very light to pick up. My bathroom scale is saying just 34.5 pounds. It's incredibly light. Now let's try the Rota. This is a 17 by 7.5 with now a 215 wide Bridgestone RE71R. Also surprisingly light, 42.1 pounds. So that's about 6.5 pounds heavier than the stock setup in the rear. Last but not least, we have the front wheel and tire setup. This is probably gonna be the heaviest of the bunch. It's much wider, much more aggressive. Again, 17x9 DeForest wheel with a 245 wide Bridgestone. Let's see how these guys weigh in. Surprisingly, these are identical to the Rotas. I knew these were a very light wheel. These are also 42 pounds. Wow, very impressive. So there is a weight gain of about 6.5 pounds per corner. That's what, 26 pounds of rotating mass gain total, which is quite a lot of rotational mass gain, but hopefully the amount of grip we're gaining more than offsets that. The stock Toyota lugs, like most stock cars, will not work with these aftermarket wheels, which require tuner style lug nuts. Fortunately, Gorilla lugs, 20 bucks or so off eBay. Very inexpensive. These are the right M12 by 1.5 thread bolt pattern that we need, so hopefully these should work out quite nicely. Pretty aggressive. Though they do clear the inside of the strut. Piece of cake. I don't know about you guys, but I am stoked on these wheels. The bronze was definitely the right choice against this yellow. It really pops in person, especially that little metallic flake in the wheels. The fitment itself too is not that bad. You know, when it comes to fitting aggressive tires on a Prius, there isn't a lot of precedent. There's not a ton of people on the internet trying to fit massive track day tires on this chassis. So I really didn't know what to expect. The rear is tucking quite easily, that's no problem. I'm actually surprised how much space there is in the back of this car. It almost looks like we could put the fronts in the back and they'd probably fit with a bit of massaging. The fronts, well, they fit, but there's quite a lot of poke happening here. I'd say there's a solid inch of poke. And while it is totally fine for this monster truck ride height, very soon, this Prius is no longer going to be monster trucking down the road. It might be quite a bit lower and quite a bit stiffer and quite a bit more cambered, if that gives you any hints for the next episode. In any case, I'm really pleased with this outcome. I want to thank again the folks over at TPM Parts. Mike, thank you very much for hooking it up as always. I love the wheel and tire package. It looks great on this car, and once we kind of dial in the suspension, I think it's going to look even better. What do you guys think though? Does it look whack? Does it look good? I love the color combo. Obviously the monster truck ride height is not my thing, but hey, maybe you guys have a different opinion down in the comments below. In any case, thank you very much for watching this episode of the Track Taxi. Updates do come out every Thursday on the Drive, Brake, Fix, Repeat YouTube channel. Please stay tuned for that. If you've not already, hit the subscribe button down below, as well as the little bell icon. That way you do get updates and notifications when the new episodes are dropping. And as always guys, thank you very much for watching. See you guys next time where I go do more fun things with cars. Bye.